Hello everybody. So in today's video we will be looking at Maria Montessori's education method. Now if you haven't watched my two other videos in this mini series, I invite you to go and check them out before you carry on with this video, because I think having knowledge of the previous two videos will help you better understand the content in this video. So Maria Montessori built her education method based on her education philosophy. If you want to know more about her education philosophy, I invite you to go check out the video that I have done on her education philosophy. Now let's find out what her education method is all about. The Montessori method of education is a child-centered, teacher-supported method of education. Children learn from hands-on activities. They also have Montessori apparatus to work with. These Montessori apparatus were invented by Dr. Maria Montessori. The Montessori method of education offers children a 3-hour work time. This method of education also encourages independence. It offers children the freedom of movement. Most importantly, it gives children the freedom of choice. When we talk about freedom of choice, children have the freedom to choose from within limits. Furthermore, children are offered Montessori learning areas to learn from. Children learn from the prepared environment. So this is an overview of the Montessori method of education. So now you just had an overview of this education method. There are certain points I feel like I need to further elaborate on. So let's start with child-centered education approach. So you must be wondering, what does child-centered education approach means? Let me explain it to you. Montessori method of education is a progressive education method, which is the opposite of traditional education. The difference between these two education methods are the way the students or children are viewed. In traditional education, they believe that children can't teach themselves. However, in progressive education, children or students are believed to be able to teach themselves. Therefore, in traditional education, the teacher is the key person in the child's learning journey. They believe that children should be taught since they are unable to teach themselves. So the teacher's role is to pass down knowledge to these passive recipients or observers. So in traditional education, the teacher is active, the students are passive. The teacher decides when, how, what and how long a child will learn a certain concept. Therefore, this is a teacher-centered education method. The traditional education method is teacher-centered. On the other hand, in progressive education method, children are viewed as individuals who can teach themselves. Therefore, the child becomes the active participant in their learning journey, and the teacher's duty is to support this self-learning process. The child depends on himself to discover knowledge and develop skills with the support and guidance from the teacher. The child decides when, what, how and for how long the child would learn a certain concept. So, since the child is in charge of his own learning journey, progressive education method is a child-centered learning method. Now, Maria Montessori also believes that children are capable of teaching themselves. So that's why her method of education is also child-centered. If the child is in charge of his own learning journey, you must be wondering, what is the role and what are the duties of a teacher in the Montessori classroom? Well, the teacher has several duties. Number one is to observe the child. By observing the child, the teacher discovers the child's inner drives towards learning. Accordingly, the teacher has to prepare the learning environment to support these inner drives. Okay? And also, the teacher has to put the child in contact with this prepared learning environment. Another duty of a teacher is to do Montessori presentations. When we say Montessori presentations, we talk about showing children how to use the Montessori materials that Dr. Maria Montessori created for their learning. So we do presentations, we show them what to do so that the child can later on independently engage with these learning materials and learn from them. In the Montessori method of education, teachers are not allowed to interrupt children who are purposefully engaging with an activity or to force a child to do an activity. You must be wondering, why is that? This is simply because if we force a child or if we interrupt a child who is working beautifully with an activity, we are interrupting or we are disturbing the child's natural learning process. As I have been saying over and over again, children are independent learners. They can teach themselves and they work or they choose work that aligns with their inner drive. So if we as teachers disturb them or force them to do an activity, we are completely destroying the child's natural learning process. So another important element in Montessori method of education is the freedom of choice. Now you must be wondering, why do children have the freedom to choose from their learning environment in a Montessori education method? This is because, according to Maria Montessori, children are self-learners. They can teach themselves. The next thing is, children have a natural or an instinctive drive towards learning. So to support this instinctive drive and this self-learning process, we allow children to choose from their learning environment. If we make the decision or if we make choices for children, we are simply interrupting this natural learning process. Because at any given time, we wouldn't know what is the child's inner drive is like. We wouldn't know that. We would get to know it, but we need to observe the child over a period of time to identify this inner drive. So this is the reason we give the children the freedom of choice. The child will always choose activities that are aligned with their inner drive. Now, the prepared learning environment plays a key role in the Montessori method of education, and you may ask why. That is because, according to Maria Montessori's education philosophy, young children learn from their environment around them. So that is why it's really important to have a well-prepared learning environment that supports independent learning and the instinctive inner drive towards learning. So this is a photograph of a Montessori classroom. As you can see, it is set up in a completely different way to a traditional classroom. This is because, once again, children are in charge of their learning process. They can teach themselves. So to engage in self-learning, they need to be able to connect with the learning environment around them. So what helps children connect with the learning environment? Movement. They need to be able to move and explore their learning environment to be able to learn from it. So that's why in a Montessori classroom, children are given the freedom of movement. Maria Montessori discovered common learning interest and inner drive that young children display at various developmental stages. Following her discoveries, she invented Montessori learning areas and Montessori apparatus to support this instinctively driven self-learning process. For example, she discovered that young children learn through their senses. So she included a learning area called sensorial in her education program, along with sensorial materials to help children refine their senses. So this brings our video to an end. I hope this video gave you an idea about Montessori method of education. In my next video, I hope to talk to you about the Montessori learning areas. Well, until my next video, have a good day. Bye-bye.